everyone, this is my Patreon proud reaction to the 7th episode of Zettai Karen Children. So, last episode, we went to school for the first time, and some people were kind of nervous about how things would go, but it went pretty well. Like, it wasn't perfect or anything like that. You know, we had our issues, but we made at least one friend, and Claud, who did not blow up any of the students, so I would consider it a success pretty much on that basis. And I think we even improved the opinion of that one Esper-hating kid on Esper's at least a little bit, you know, because we had some like mutual shonen battle protagonist style respect building from the one battle, so dodge the ball back and forth thing. So yeah, I really can't call it anything but a success, even if we, you know, damaged a very expensive experimental uniform. But that wasn't really our main cast's fault. That was the Chief's fault. So I don't count that as part of that. So anyway, let's get into this episode. I guess we'll just be continuing our school life because it seems like we're starting off the episode in front of the school. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. So 3, 2, 1, play. And balls again. Well, you know, they got things to do. You know, they got a job to do. Saving people with by using their Esper powers. It's gotta be their focus. Yeah. There's all the way they say Daitan. I still love the opening, just in general. And all those villains. With the one man at the top. The one infiltrator dude. Kyuu, I think he was called. Wow. The second subscriber pop-up I've had today. By Darkness, I think that says. So yeah, thank you for subscribing. So, restrained, huh? What do you mean by restrained exactly? Because that could mean a lot of things. Good choice. A tank is no match for our small children. Sidekick V/. Only the best attack names, and it is in the shape of a V, so it makes sense. And okay, I think it worked. Oh no, is that a... That looks like a bullet. Oh god, is it a sniper? Still no match for us, but it was a bit of a close call. So yeah, another tank. Oh, we send it back home, where it belongs. So you can't complain, really. What goes around comes around. Yeah, definitely don't let your guard down. You have a tendency to do that. Okay, we found them. Is that a mushroom? Looks like a mechanical mushroom. Zachirudren. Zachirudren. Oh, what's this thing gonna do? Gonna blow up? Or is it gonna restrain them? Okay, it's a jammer. Gotcha. That's not good. That makes us very blind. And they're still tanks. And yeah, it's not gonna work either. I think it completely restrains all of their powers. That's gonna include you, Kaoru. That includes you too, so don't just run towards the tank. You might want to not do that. So I told you to stop. Don't punch a tank without powers, yeah, that happens. That's why you don't do that. Code. Think you may learn a lesson there. Ow. That poor hand. Can you still hold a pencil? Okay, so it's not too bad. Now you see what happens when a normal person punches a tank. It doesn't go well. She doesn't listen, though. Yeah. It's like you don't warn people for a fire drill, you know, that kind of thing. And I'll put the jammer back on. Electronic clam chowder. I assume the M stands for machine. No, okay. Right, it's a jammer. Not a mushroom. Yeah, it's pretty useful. Hopefully the enemy doesn't get one of those. Yeah, I can't exactly carry that in your pocket. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I mean, he's a chief, of course he is. Ow. It would be pretty convenient to have one of those in your pocket, though. For whenever they throw a temper tantrum. Which, you know, especially Kyuu has a tendency to do. Don't say that. You will be broken. Yeah, be careful what you ask for. Maybe he's an M. Would explain a lot. Okay, I was kidding, man. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this could end badly. The enemy will get some of those. Of course not. I'm sure there are. Don't do that. Oh no. Well, that's gonna kill him. Okay, good thing they... At least they brought him back, I guess. That still was painful. Yeah, you kind of missed some excitement. Some people were more excited than others. Anyway, what's the plan? So weaklings, gotcha. A drunken brawl, huh? Yeah, I mean, they're not level 7s, but they can still do damage. Oh. Okay, I feel like I'm watching Railgun all of a sudden. I mean, I already said that, but especially now, with the electricity, you know. Is he a Kappa? Kappa? Is that his power? Just being a Kappa? I mean, it's clearly electricity, but... Yeah, bad name for all of us. Releases the children. How do we even get to the situations when I want to know? And do you have to keep drinking while fighting? As always, they choose the best spot to introduce themselves. Title drop. It really is a gorgeous moon. I appreciate the effort put into drawing it. Yeah, just adding the espers into the fight. Just teleport on away. Yeah. Oh, then how is he shooting electricity then? Oh, is this all some sort of weird trap? By the anti-Esper people? Well, looks like he just walked into that. I mean, you can call yourself normal if you want. Doesn't make it so. Of course. I did have a bit of a suspicious feeling about this. It just felt so manufactured. You know, the location and everything. You keep using that word. I don't know if you know what it means. And yeah, the jammer, they've probably been used by the enemy like I thought. Because of course it would be. Yeah, it's why you don't develop stuff like that, because the enemy will use it, like, without question. I knew that was going to happen, just, there was no doubt in my mind. I didn't think necessarily this episode, but I knew it would be eventually. And it just turned out to be this episode. And there's not much they can do without powers. We might have to make our own countermeasure for this. Restrained. Maybe we could give them, like, guns, you know? Yeah, at least now they know that much. Yeah, that would not be okay. Not sure how we get out of this. Unless we just, like, break it somehow. That's all we want, you know? No big deal. Yes. No. Like, he works for Babel, works directly with Esper girls. Why would you think he would have that opinion? Like, no. No. Again, I don't know if they know what that word means. It's hard to believe these people actually think they're the good guys in this scenario. In this conflict. When they behave this way. It's gonna be a rough day for Minamoto. Yeah, we gotta calm down and think of something. I mean, the pilot's not that important, but I guess we could try to help him too. And now they've come into this room. Yeah, let's see Kaoru try to beat up adults like 5 times their size. Well, she got one hit in there, I guess. Not that it did much. aside from piss him off. Oh. Yeah, it's just not a fair fight. Yeah, grudges will be left. Make no mistake. We will eventually get our powers back. Wow, yeah, Shio really just laying down things there. It was an acceptable amount of provocation. Of course. These two. Well, they're children, so that's to be expected. Maybe we could throw a rock at it, like hit just the right spot, like a weak point, because Minamoto might know a weak point. Well, he's in a position of responsibility. How about no? They're bringing Kaoru, of course. You were warned not to hurt her, so... They really aren't. It's a very misleading name. Well, that's just your opinion, man, and you need to accept that. You are definitely on the wrong side of history, as they say. Of course not, because you'd lose. You rather just force your opinion on others. You can't do it, Minamoto. Hopefully that's not actually the password, and we'll just attack while he's distracted. Oh, okay, it's like a special code for something else. Okay, so they do have a countermeasure for that. That's good, at least. Yeah, get wrecked, you idiots. Okay, what's your plan here? Oh, the music's starting up. Are we gonna release her power somehow? Like, I guess an emergency way to release it? Even amongst the ECM, which makes sense they might have something like that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, you made a mistake bringing Kaoru in here. Get wrecked, normal people. Yeah. Not so tough when she's back to normal, huh? Yeah, that should apply to you, too. So just teleport over there. Or you can just knock down walls, just walk in. You did good today, Minamoto. Counter mission. So yeah, I'm glad they have that, because I think I commented on that before. So they did account for that, that's good. Hopefully they don't come in with counters to the counter of the counter. Yeah, let's just stop that thing while we can. Of course. So let's just punch it till it breaks. Yeah, we have our powers back. I don't think you're gonna be able to do much here, guys, so you just stop. Although the battery is running low, so let's speed through this. Unremarkable. How rude. The queen. So yeah, he really considers Kaoru the queen. Okay. I guess he has big plans for her. Plans that she probably won't accept. He's probably part of an organization that wants to, like, aspires to rule the world. Like, kind of the opposite of the normals is probably what he is, now that I think about it. You know, Magneto kind of thing from X-Men, to make a comparison. Yeah. It's looking a little bit bad, but I'm sure we'll figure something out. Oh no. Oh. Wait, what's happening? Who did that? Because that's a massive amount of power. Did he do that? But I mean, the jammer would work on him too, right? I don't know. So how'd that happen? Yeah, I don't quite get what happened. Because I thought the battery had run out. Is it just her queen-like nature overpowering the ECM? Like, did she ascend to a higher level? Like level 8? Is that what happened? Because that'd be pretty cool. It's like a god now, just floating in there. Yeah, you don't shoot Minamoto. You cross the line with that. You have no one to blame but yourself for what happens next. I still don't think she's actually gonna kill him, though. And there you go, yeah. I knew he'd stop her. Still want to know what happened, though. Maybe they'll explain that later. I saw that. I definitely saw that. Power to our queen saves the day. Yeah, that mushroom's seen better days. Yeah, we don't need that thing. It's not like it stopped us anyway. From your own will. Well, I guess we kind of forgot about the pilot. They mentioned him at least once, but, you know, not they really care about the pilot. I'm sure he'll be saved eventually. Then just going to sleep after a long day. Ugh. So yeah, apparently Kyosuke is gonna be getting more active role in the plot, which is cool. Might learn a bit more about him now. Although I think I've guessed a lot about what he's about from this episode. So, okay, that was the 7th episode of Zettai Karen Children. So, yeah, pretty good stuff. Now, the early part of the episode, you know, well, the very beginning was just the classroom, because, yeah, of course, it's not going to be able to spend too much time at class, because the priority does have to be saving people, you know. Class is very much secondary to that, which is a little bit sad, because it'll make it a bit harder to really blend in with the class, become a part of them, when them being absent becomes a norm, but, you know, it's just what we have to deal with. And they developed a new sort of technology with this episode, the ECM. It just kind of disables Esper powers, essentially. You know, kind of like the limiter that they carry around, but much larger, much more bulky, much more effective. So, and pretty much the second that was brought on screen, my very first thought was, the anime is going to use this against us. And my first thought was, I didn't actually understand that we were doing a simulation here, which I guess we were. I just thought it was an anime thing. But no, it's just part of the simulation. So once I realized that part, though, I immediately thought, yeah, the enemy's going to use this. The enemy's going to get their hands on this, because every time you develop a technology for one purpose, it's misused for a different purpose by someone else. It always happens without fail. If you develop technology, you have to kind of accept that will be a very likely reality. And I knew it would be a matter of time, just not necessarily in this episode. And the chief apparently just likes the abuse. It just explains a lot, really. But yeah, they weren't big fans of the technology, though. Well, I mean, of course they're not, because it's just literally an anti-them device. There's no way they would be happy about that. So they definitely vented a bit of that frustration, you know, through their powers. Kaoru most notably. But Shiho did kind of read Minamoto's mind a bit. Because just is always a concern when you have people with just a lot of power. You just kind of, your imagination imagines all the horrible things they could do with it. So a device like that would make you feel a bit more at ease, but, you know, just that's from their perspective, not from the Esper perspective, which would be kind of the opposite feeling, you know, that they're being literally suppressed by it. So we were called out on a mission to deal with a drunken brawl, and once we got there and saw, like, the location and stuff of it, I immediately thought something was weird about this, because when you think public brawl, you kind of think of it being in a pretty public place, you know? Maybe they bumped into each other or whatever, but this was very out-of-the-way kind of location, very odd location for this, you know, taking turns, taking swigs in between attacks, just so much about it felt wrong, felt unnatural, artificial, out of place, which is why I made the comment, like, what happened before this? Because I couldn't quite piece together in my mind the series of events that would lead to this sort of scenario. It was just too weird. And once they said they weren't Espers and revealed the tech and stuff, that made it pretty clear this was a trap. We walked into a trap, and it was by the normals, as they call themselves, even though they're very much not normal at all. It really is hard for me to believe that they believe they're on the side of good, with a lot of things they do, and the stereotypical evil laughter and stuff like that. Because, you know, they act as if they're in the right, you know, they under the belief that Espers are just an unnatural thing that shouldn't exist, so it's their holy duty to exterminate them, you know, that's kind of the perspective that they have. But just nothing about the actions they take reflects that at all. Just everything they do is scummy, villain-like behavior, so it's just interesting, you know. It's hard for me to imagine the kind of mental gymnastics they go through to justify a lot of the actions that they do. But I know that people can do that, you know. There's plenty of evidence of that on the internet, if you look for it. You know, people that do horrible things and pat themselves on the back in their echo chambers, you know, it's just a common thing. So I can believe it for sure. It's just a strange thing. But anyway, yeah, the episode got pretty rough once we just kidnapped the children and Minamoto. I mean, as far as physical abuse goes for interrogation, like, it really wasn't that bad. I've seen much worse, really. Like, much worse torture. He seems like he just got like a punch or two, really. Like, nothing too bad. Which makes sense, because this isn't really that dark of a show, so they're gonna restrain themselves a little bit in that regard, which makes sense. I mean, things got a little bit heated on the Children side of things, the Children, because, like, you know, Kaoru gets all violent, and then you got Shiho like, you watch yourselves, you know, we may not have powers now, but we'll hold the grudge, we'll get our powers eventually. well, remember your faces. There will be hell to pay if you do anything too bad to Kaoru. He will not forgive you. I like how they made sure to get that point across. Like, Shiho really tried to strike that fear in them, and I think it got to them at least a little bit. They never admit it though. So, yeah, luckily we had countermeasures for the countermeasure, and he just put in the code that just activated it. So, yeah, it sucks for them. They made the mistake to bring Kaoru there. It makes sense that they would do that, though, because it's a very direct, immediate reminder of what he could lose if they felt like it, if they felt like they wanted to do that. But it was a mistake because of the countermeasures. So, yeah, we won. So, of course, they're going to keep trying. They're not going to give up. They, of course. And, yeah, once we saw, like, Kyosuke up there, I think it finally clicked in my head what exactly his deal is. Like, yeah, I think much like X-Men, if you're familiar with that, it's a very similar thing. You know, with X-Men, you have one character who tries to help mutants integrate into society, you know, work alongside them, become equals. And then there's Magneto, who is also, you know, essentially on the side of Espers, but mutants in that show, but he wants them to rule over them, so they don't quite align their beliefs. So I think that's kind of what this is. He has a similar kind of attitude and, like, probably maybe full-blown organization like that. So, of course, it's an assumption I'm making on very little evidence, but that's kind of the most I've got because we have so little context of his character. All we've seen that he doesn't seem to be completely the enemy of Babel, you know, like giving him little bits of help and calling Kaoru the queen or whatever. So he probably imagines her as being like, yeah, the queen of the Espers and the leader of, like, maybe the revolution that he's kind of planning. So it's kind of where my thoughts are right now, for sure. And now one of the biggest things with the episodes is the fact that the battery ran out. So theoretically, the ECM, the suppressor should still have been on. And in spite of that, Kaoru used her powers. It's a pretty big deal. There's a few different ways I can take this. I mean, she was called the queen before, right? So I assume that means she has more potential than the average Esper. I don't know what basis he's calling her the queen, like, from, really. Because I know there's not a lot of level 7, so maybe he just picked his favorite one and called her the queen. But it's probably not. So, yeah, is it a matter of just there's, like, I don't know, like, similar to Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, like, if you piss him off enough, he releases his true power. It could be something like that, where, but, you know, if it was something like that, it would be something that anyone would have, right? Like a certain limiter that, like, it's a certain natural limiter that could be suppressed if your emotions are strong enough. Because we already talked about the connection between emotions and the powers, so, yeah, maybe in the right mental state you can unlock more power, but if that was the thing, it would be, that's something that would apply to everyone, not necessarily like a queen, so maybe that's just part of it, but the bigger part of it's just that Kaoru, maybe she is like a level 8, but they don't understand that because the scale doesn't go that high. Eventually they'll have to adjust the scale once they realize Kaoru's true power, true potential. Maybe something there. Like, because, you know, like Railgun, which I've compared the show to a few times, they have level 5s, I think, as like the best of the best, like Esper-wise, but then they were trying to try to make a new level 6. Like, they were trying to get Accelerator to get up to that level. So it could be something like that here, like an unheard of level being attained, like Kaoru does it as the queen, as he called it. So we could be getting into something like that, where she will, like, ascend to a higher level than has ever been seen before, or is already that level, and she just hasn't quite awoken to it. Like, it's kind of there, but it's kind of like fuzzy, like she hasn't quite got it. She just, like, kind of taps into that potential when she needs to, and eventually it'll become the norm. Like, she'll fully be able to tap into it, maybe. I don't know. It's gotta be something like that, though, because she used her powers in a situation where she shouldn't have been able to, and she's been called the queen by this guy, clearly trying to build her up as a character to be something special amongst the rest. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see exactly what the deal with that is, though. But judging by the preview, Kyosuke will become more relevant. I'm not sure exactly how. I was kind of like half paying attention to the preview because I don't really want, you know, spoilers or anything like that. All I really got from it was that Kyosuke seems he's going to be relevant in the episode. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. Comes of that. It should be pretty interesting, because he's been just mysterious enough in the background that he's got my attention, my curiosity. So, yeah, I want to know more. Hopefully, we do. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Cnouki and Ryan for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.